Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome. This is going to be a little different thing. We're just going to do like a quick video here. As you can probably see from the title, 2019 LSU, undefeated, one of the greatest offensive seasons ever. For sure. 2020 Alabama, we saw what they just did. Let's get right into it. Who wants to talk first? I will if you need be.
Go, Kev.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, shit.
I'll talk first. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Oh, no.
Nah, but okay. 2019 LSU was amazing. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
Best college team of all time. Sorry.
They are.
Orgeron made a name for himself that year.
Go Tigers.
Joe Burrow probably had the best season of all time, I would say.
Out of a quarterback, yeah.
Maybe for any quarterback, I would say, yeah. Jamar Chase made a name for himself. Justin Jefferson made a name for himself. And then
Moss.
Yep, Moss made a name for himself too. And then
I don't think he made a name for himself. I think it had a little bit to do with his dad being Randy.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Very true. Very true.
The gene pool was very kind to him.
He made a name for himself.
But that offense was incredible. With that said.
There you go. Kev said it himself. Yep. LSU was better. Case closed. Goodbye.
All right. Let me get here.
After everything, I don't understand why we're even talking about this. If after what you just said, you have closed the case by just opening with that.
I said offense. Did I say anything about the defense?
I don't care about their defense.
But
You don't care about their defense.
The defense was better than Alabama's.
Not. Alabama had a damn good defense.
Sertan.
Yeah, Sertan, obviously. But then you also have like
now,
Dylan Moses.
for Notre Dame.
Great name, great person. Alabama's got 35 sacks on the year. Like 3 per game or whatever. The defense can hold them down, I think.
Very, very down year this year.
What was that?
The SEC had a very, very, very down year this year.
I just think Alabama made everybody look like little kids.
Because that's what the SEC was this year. It was Alabama and Florida.
And Georgia and Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah, A&M too. Yeah, A&M too.
Okay, so Alabama had the 32nd ranked offense, according to the NCAA.
I'm not saying their offense was awesome. I'm saying their offense was really great.
Defense. Sorry, awesome. 32nd ranked defense. My bad.
But with teams like that, you don't need the defense to be. You don't need the defense to be just all encompassing. You don't need the defense to be top 10 in the nation. All you need that defense to be is good enough to hold them to like 21, and you'll be good.
LSU 33.
What?
One spot below.
Huh. So it's almost like like their defense was just a little better. Huh.
Their defense was about the same.
You know what I forgot about? Bama not only had Devontae Adams and Jalen Waddle last year, they also had Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah. I said Adams, didn't I? Devontae Smith, yes.
But
they also had Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy. I forgot about those two on that team last year.
Guess who beat that team?
LSU.
Whoa!
And guess who I think is not as good a quarterback as we say? Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, no, he's not. But I still think Tua is better than Mac Jones.
I might beg to differ. Tua was great before he got hit by that one dude. Have you seen Tua this year?
That man's built like a White Castle drive-thru worker.
Towards the end of last year, he lost confidence.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about like good quarterbacks and the fact that Mac Jones is only good because of the Alabama offense, you send Mac Jones to the NFL. Can we talk about who the best quarterbacks in the NFL have been and what they're good at? The young ones. Josh Allen. Josh Allen can run. Lamar Jackson can run. Joe Burrow can run. Justin Herbert can run. You know who can't run? Mac Jones.
You know who had multiple 7 to 8 yard runs in the championship game? Mac Jones.
Okay.
So he has that ability.
You know whose corners were playing 10 yards back? Ohio State's. They had no secondary
There's
help.
a difference. There's a difference.
He
Do you know who also kind of can run?
The Red Sea.
Who?
Baker Mayfield.
Yes, he can.
No,
Are you
okay.
kidding me?
He's not fast, but he can run. I could say
The
the
past
same thing
2
about
weeks,
Mac Jones. He's not
No,
fast or
no,
athletic,
no,
but he can do stuff.
Baker
Mac
is
Jones cannot
probably
run.
light years ahead of Mac Jones when it comes to running.
Oh my God, no, BS.
If you watch a Mac Jones highlight tape of the year, there will be one run, and it will probably be like on a 3rd and 10, where everything is covered.
That's
Which is-
highlights, though.
No.
I'm saying he has that ability. It's not his best ability, but he has that ability.
No. Tua is the best overall quarterback that Bama has had possibly ever. Every other Bama quarterback, they don't have anyone who is better in the next level.
You mean in the next level?
Yes.
I thought you were talking about.
But that's still to be proved for
It
Tua.
is only going to be Tua.
I still think that's still to be proved.
Yeah.
I don't know about next level, but I think the best quarterback in their franchise. I don't know, dude. Like in their time at Alabama, I don't know. AJ McCarron won two national championships.
It is AJ McCarron.
Yeah.
But that's legacy wise. You're saying ability wise in his time there, Tua Tagovailoa was the greatest, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying ability wise. I'm saying how he fit into that offense and what he did for that offense. Mac Jones was the engine.
And changed the offense for him.
Mac Jones.
You changed the offense for anyone.
The key to that offense, the only reason he has like anything to deal with, he has the best route runner in Devontae Smith.
Let's say that then.
You can put anyone at quarterback, and if you're throwing 5 10-yard passes to Devontae Smith and he's running 40 yards extra, you're going to have the same numbers.
With
that argument, why can I not say that Joe Burrow was better because he had Jamar Chase, Moss, and
I'll break that down.
Jefferson.
I'll break that down.
Can also throw 48 yards, 70 yards down the field.
Mac Jones
Mac Jones wasn't doing that.
Mac Jones is not on the run throwing the ball across his body against Alabama for a 70-yard gain to Justin Jefferson. Mac Jones is standing in the pocket throwing a 10-yard slant to Devontae Smith and letting him run around the field.
He's throwing it 20-plus yards down the field. He was the best deep ball thrower this year, and he had a great offensive line. That's another thing you could say.
Oh, Alabama's offensive line was better than LSU's.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Also, Joe Burrow gets outside the pocket as a secondary. What do you think he's going to do?
You don't know.
Exactly. Mac Jones gets out of the pocket. What do you think he's going to do?
Most likely throw, but he can run.
Joe Burrow's first touchdown in the NFL.
There's no question. I see Mac Jones getting out of the pocket as a secondary person. I'm like, I can turn my back and look at the receivers because he's no threat running. He is no threat running.
Did you hear anything about LSU's defensive line last year?
No, not really.
So then what's to say that Mac Jones is going to have to get outside the pocket? If they're going to blitz 5-6 guys, they're going to be one-on-ones, and I don't care who you ask. Delpit is not beating
SEC player of the defensive player of the year.
Is he going to beat the Heisman fucking finalist winner?
I don't think he's going to beat him.
Championship MVP.
What makes you think Surtain's going to stop Jefferson and Chase? May I add, Jefferson had the best rookie season by a rookie receiver, in my opinion. He wasn't even the best receiver on his team last year. The guy that was leading their team last year
wasn't even the best receiver. He wasn't even the best receiver coming into the draft.
I can argue with that.
And he had a subpar quarterback with Kirk Cousins.
I can argue that too. But anyway, that's kind of getting off topic with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, but real quick, Joe Burrow's first touchdown in the NFL, he's at about the 30-yard line, right? And he's a rookie quarterback that is known for throwing it all around the yard, and he's got good weapons in Cincy. No, what does he do? He sees they're going to drop back, and they're going to drop everybody back. No, he goes auto, calls a play, and he takes off for a QB draw and runs it in for the touchdown. Mac Jones can't do that. He can't run an audible. You know what he's going to do? He's going to try to force that ball. When he gets in the NFL, it's not going to be Devontae Smith running up the line. It's not going to be blah, blah, running up the line. Here is Joe Burrow all the way up here where you can't even see him, and Mac Jones is down here with Cardale Jones type of level.
Are we talking about the NFL?
I'm talking about Cardale Jones. Mac Jones is not far off from as good as a quarterback as Cardale Jones. That's how close they are.
Also going back to Bama quarterbacks having no success in the NFL, you take a guy who was a good quarterback in high school, you put him on one of the best teams in college football history, best franchises in college football history in Alabama, who has the best, at least one of top 5 running backs, one of the top 5 receivers, and many, many top 5 offensive linemen. Any quarterback's going to look like a god.
Nobody was going to beat LSU.
Thank you for making that point for me, Scott. Thank you.
You couldn't put anybody up against LSU.
That's what I'm saying. You put Burrow on that Bama team last year, his numbers are through the roof
this year
to what he did at LSU.
I beg to differ. I think they'd be about the same, maybe a little less.
The only reason Bama quarterbacks are good every single year is because they do well and go, here, we'll take us a 3.5, 4-star quarterback and put him with all these 5-star recruits.
Yeah, exactly. They have all these 5-star recruits.
Kody could be a championship winning quarterback at Bama if
Let's
he
not
had
go that far.
Jamar Chase was a 3-star wide receiver. Thaddeus Moss, I believe, was also a 3-star tight end. There was a transfer who wasn't even ranked, I believe. That was also one of their top receivers last year. They were a bunch. Joe Burrow was sat behind behind Dwayne Haskins, who isn't even in the NFL anymore. They all had chips on their shoulders. Nobody was beating LSU. It didn't matter who you were putting them up against.
Smith was a 5-star, and Waddle and Mechie were 4-stars. I don't care about high school ratings. The NFL MVP past couple years have been 3-stars.
I'm talking about their ratings were low, and that's why they came together and played so well that year, is because they were all a bunch of underdogs who came out and balled out like they thought they would. And they balled out better than anybody ever.
And so did Alabama. Although they were underdogs, they still balled the fuck out.
Some can say that one of the best teams of all time is also the 2015 championship team of Ohio State, who discombobulated Alabama and then beat the Heisman winner Marcus Mariota in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. So what does that have to do with it?
Only other team that's discombobulated Alabama like that. And then LSU did it even more.
They weren't facing this year's team, though. They weren't facing Najee Harris at his prime, I think, in his career.
Okay, who was the quarterback of that team last year?
Not everything is about the quarterback. Yes, I think Mac Jones is very good. Do I think he's better than Joe Burrow? No, but I think he's very good.
He's nowhere near Tua either.
Conversation for another day.
If Tua's brother decides to stay at Bama, Mac Jones is not the starter.
No, I disagree with that.
No.
Tualia did not look good this season.
Tua's brother would have been the starter by week 5.
No, he would not have. If they're winning that many games on like over and over again, they're not going to bench their quarterback.
Also, Bama is the type of team that goes, hey, we're going to play the worst teams in the SEC and schedule an FCS school in week 13.
They beat Florida and Georgia. Those are 2 very good schools. Number 5 and number 9, respectively.
We're never going to agree on it, but I'm on the side of, the best quarterback of all time in college football and a very good running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. In his college time, he was very, very good, which could have a lot to do with having Joe Burrow there and a good, and being a really good team. But I will say this, the receivers, I would take Alabama's receivers over LSU. But what I will say is in the feel of the team, the feel of how the team was, I think that game between Ohio State and LSU is a lot different if Trey Sermon stays in the game. It's closer. It's not Alabama wins. It's closer. Alabama wins.
If Trey Sermon does not break his collarbone on the first play of the game,
it's going to be still like a 10 to 15 point game. But what I'm saying is like
the second Trey Sermon went out, Bama's secondary was like, oh, cool. We just all we have to do is worry about the pass now. We don't have to worry about the run.
You're telling me about all the momentum that you felt with LSU last year and Joe Burrow and him being an underdog. You're telling me that them coming into a game in the national championship against this Alabama team, who people were questioning if Ohio State with a terrible defense could beat, would have beaten Alabama. Wouldn't have beaten Alabama.
I was never questioning that in my life.
Well, a lot of people were. A lot of people were after what Ohio State did to Clemson.
Clemson's not as good as they were last year. I'll say that much.
We're still really good.
They're still real good.
Guess who beat Clemson?
They did beat Clemson, but Clemson isn't as good as they've been in previous years. And also, Ohio State, you can't say that Trey Sermon, a running back, was taking him out of the game, completely changed everything. I don't think
the guy that
you
was
can say
averaging 250 rushing yards the past 2 weeks against really good defenses.
Okay.
Probably better than Alabama.
Yeah, but you could say that Samaje Perine. What about him? He had like a 300-yard performance with Florida. Was he ever a real difference maker there?
On Oklahoma.
That too.
He was very, very good in college.
I'm thinking of Perkins. But yeah, but they still had they could still throw the ball at Oklahoma without him, just as Justin Fields can throw the ball without Trey Sermon.
But Samaje Perine rushed for all those yards while Joe Mixon was there. I believe Joe Mixon was still on the team.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between Trey Sermon and Master Teague and Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. The backup was Master Teague, who can't move laterally better than most old men.
I disagree. I've seen Master Teague do very well.
Did you see them try to throw the ball to him 5 yards away? He couldn't jump. He couldn't catch the ball.
I'm saying on the run.
But I'm just saying that has a lot to do with a running back. Trey Sermon catches that ball. He's in space. It could be a big play.
Yes, taking Trey Sermon out of that game as the Bama defensive coordinator, not even just the defensive coordinator, you take a sigh. Yes, it sucks someone got injured, but you take a sigh of relief going, oh, well, now we don't have to worry about all these screens. We don't have to worry about outside runs. We don't have to worry about him out of the backfield.
We'll let Master T get 3 yards and run into his offensive lineman's back and then dive to the ground is what they're saying. And then 3rd down and 3, let's see try to run past our defensive line and try to throw the ball when Justin Fields hasn't clicked all night because they can't get a first down. I think this is a good way to end it. We're not going to agree. LSU over Alabama for me by 20 points.
Same. I agree. I totally agree with you. LSU would have destroyed this year's Alabama team.
Alabama by a field goal. I'm at least making it close, man. Come on. I'm at least giving the other team some consideration. Like,
I'm sorry. I think it's hilarious that you think Bama would have had the ball last.
Hey, like Kody said, agree to disagree, man. Well, I don't know, man.
Okay.
Jeez.
We'll see y'all next time, man.